Good afternoon, guys. It's Leslie at Ski Bakers. I didn't get a whole lot of chance to record any videos at our fair, so there's a couple of videos, a lot of pictures. I'll try to kind of get through it and explain it all to you guys. This is Bianca's FFA show. It is a day before our 4-H fair actually starts, so she was the only one showing dairy goats, so she won first and second in every class. Not really a fair show, but it is what it is. So this is her with Foxy, who took champion, and Fergie took reserve champion. Then we got into showmanship. They do the meat and dairy goats together for showmanship, and I believe there was 6 in this class. So what they do is they're judging on how the animal behaves and how well they are handling their animal, how well they are showing them. Just like any other class that they're showing in, they make a loop around the ring, they stop, wherever the judge wants them to stop. Usually they walk in, they stop in a line. The judge will check each animal. They will have them walk around the arena, the ring, and watch how the animal moves and things like that. So in showmanship, they're watching how they handle their animal and how they show. They need to keep their eyes on the judge so that they know where the judge is at all times, and they always keep the goat between themselves and the judge. The judge will ask them questions, and the older the showmanship class is, the more intricate and questions that they ask. So they may ask about what they feed, they may ask about certain parts and where they're at. I know a lot of times on the dairy goats they'll ask what you want to improve on your animal. Sometimes the judge will even have them switch animals because they may be accustomed to showing their goat, but showing another goat they get completely lost, and things like that. So here the judge is walking on the other side of the goats to see if the handlers move to the opposite side of the goat. And she has them all lining up again, trying to see who's on the sides they're supposed to be on. They're walking around looking at the animal just like they would in a normal show, but watching how they handle the animal and how they move. So the judge is here talking to Bianca about her goat, more than likely asking how old she is, parts of the body, what she would like to change or improve on future breedings. And the judge will walk through and talk to everyone in the ring, and then based on her questions and watching, she will make her choices on placings. And Bianca ended up winning that showmanship class. She took a picture of what she won. Her chair was from her showmanship. The bag was her champion placing for Foxy, and the sprayer was her reserve placing for Fergie. And this was Bianca's last year for FFA. So it was super exciting that she did win her showmanship class. Then 2 days later, we get into our 4-H and junior fair show. Our first class was junior kids, which is kids born after April 1st. There were 6 kids in this class. This is how the judge will walk up and put their hands on each goat, feel around. They will check teats to make sure that they only have 2 teats. There's not split teats or extra teats. They will typically ask their date of birth, so she wants to know if this kid was born sometime in April, May, June, July, and when all the breeds are together, it's probably a little bit harder to tell. Then she went through and chose her first place, second place, third place, things like that. Put them all in order. She's lining them up. Our friend Matthew here at the bottom left of the screen was first place. Then we have Kaylee with Razzle in second place, which is Ritz's doeling. We have Bianca with Tootsie, which is Foxy's doe, in third place. And Aria with her doe, Rosie's doe, in fourth place. And then a couple other young ladies had fifth and sixth place. Then we go into intermediate kid, which is born in March 3/1 through 3/31. There was 6 kids in this class. And the judge again was just checking each doe. So we had Taya's doe, Twix, in second place, and Destiny's doe, Caramello, in fifth place. So it's kind of hard to hear. The judge is just trying to give her explanations on why each doe placed over the one before. It was very loud in the show barn, so you really can't hear or understand what she's saying.
Just a little more hyper-thoughtful with those understanding the profile and though it seems like it's a really picturesque profile. It's very wide in the body capacity, nice big female top. Although in her place, her turn, we're just seeing a very dairy animal, just really nice ambulation, strong on those feet and legs. The last 3 does are in fourth place today. This one may have quite a body capacity today.
Our next class was senior kids, so those are January 1st to February 28th, as long as it's not a leap year. There were 6 kids in this class, and they had walked in, lined up, judges checking each one of them. She will go from goat to goat and just check them all. Putting her hands on, she can feel kind of spring of rib and different things like that. Checking teats again. Every class they will check teats. And then she had them walk and line up and different things. She then chose her placings, which Honey, Treble's doeling, took first. Rolo, Apani's doeling, took second. Spree, Cupid's doeling, took third. And Kit Kat, Fergie's doeling, took fifth. Then we went into the 12 to 18-month-old kids. This was a large class. There ended up being 18 does in this class. This is the yearlings. And they had thought about splitting it in two, and then the judge decided just to do it all in one class. So they all walked in, lined up. She checked out each one. She had them, they all walked around the ring at least one time. Then she had them turn and come in and line up side by side. Then she can walk through and compare from the back side, the front side, different angles, and kind of get different views, I guess, of each goat to compare. Then she started taking her placings. So first place ended up being the doeling, the bottom left hand corner, Ruby. She wrote an essay on why she wanted to win a show animal last year in our livestock, LaSalle County Livestock Association gets donations of animals each year for goat, pig, cow, I believe, and sheep. And we donated last year for the goat giveaway, and Ruby won, and we chose one of Sangria's doelings as a really good show animal for her. So she showed last year and placed pretty well, but so she ended up winning the first place in the 12 to 18 month old kids. And then we had Fig, which is Moscato's doe from last year, in third. Marshmallow, which is one that we purchased last year, in fourth. Milano, the kids call Bud, is one of Destiny's does from last year. She got fifth. And Maple, Mazakine's doeling from last year, got sixth place. So we were super excited that all of our does, even Ruby's doe she got from us, placed very well. After we were finished with the dry does, we went into the doe and milk classes. So our first one was the 2-year-old milkers. There was 9 in this class. And they do the exact same thing, walk in, line up, judge checks them, they walk around the ring until the judge says to stop. She'll line them up, and then she'll choose her placings. So the only difference in these classes is, other than just asking date of birth, she'll ask their age, how many times they've freshened, so how many times they've had kids, and when they freshened. So you'll give a 2-year-old first freshener in March, or whatever month, however many freshens they are. We had Latte took first, Fergie took second, Classy took fourth, and Karma took fifth. And that was, like I said, I think there was 9 in that class. And apparently I didn't get any pictures or videos of the 3-year-old and up class. There was 11 does. Sangria took first, Foxy took second, Cupid took third, Destiny took fourth, Taya took sixth, and Trinity with an I took 7th place. So here the judge has them already lined up and is explaining her placings, her reasons as to why she placed them where she did. And then we get into the champion drive, which is all the first place goats from each class is in the line closest to us. The second place is in the line behind them. So the judge can walk through and check out all of the first place goats and decide which one will take overall champion of the dairy goat show. Then once they choose the champion, then they will bring up the second place from that class to take that goat's place, and then they will choose reserve champion for overall from the entire dairy goat show. Now, this is where the meat goat kids will help the dairy goat kids, the dairy goat kids will help the meat goat kids, and even showing in classes if they have extra goats, they will help. Everybody helps each other in 4-H. It's just the way it is. It's like a big family. So there are kids not in show whites because they're helping their friends to show the goats that they can't show more than one in a class, so their friends come and help them. This young man helped us in the champion drive. He was very excited to be able to help show goats, so he had Sangria out there since she won first place in her class. And his eyes lit up and he got a big grin on his face when Sangria won champion overall dairy goat. And then when the judge went to choose for reserve champion, she ended up choosing Ruby's goat, Blanche, which is Sangria's daughter that I was telling you about earlier. So Sangria won overall champion, and Blanche ended up winning reserve overall champion. After we finished the champion drive for the dairy goats, we get into the group classes, which is both dairy goats and meat goats. And so you have the dairy judge and the meat judge. They work together to choose their placings. So this is the dam and daughter class, which they compare the dam and daughter and look for the pair that improves in the daughter from the dam. So in a dairy goat, they're looking for better qualities in an udder. In any goat, they're looking for structurally better qualities. You look to breed up, breed better. So if the daughter is bred down, doesn't look as good, then obviously that was not a good pairing for the breeding. So in this class, Foxy and Fergie as a pair took first place, which got them grand champion. Sangria and Cupid took second place, which got them reserve champion. And Destiny and Karma took fourth place. Aria was very excited that her pair won this class. This is Aria's first show, so she was a bit nervous, but she did a very good job. Bianca's friends, Kaylee's friends, helped Aria if she had more than one goat to handle in a class. Then we got into the next class is bred and owned, that livestock association, Stockman's Association that I was telling you about earlier for the essay contest. They also sponsor this bred and owned class. You have to own the dam at the time of breeding in order to be considered for this class. So you're breeding your doe to see if you can better and make it a better goat. So bred and owned is you chose the dam, you chose the sire, and hopefully we'll get a top quality goat out of that pairing. So Bianca showed Latte and Kaylee showed Fergie. So both judges went through, asked ages and information about each goat, put their hands on them, checked every goat, and then they decided together on which goat would be the winner and what their placings were. So Kaylee and Fergie took first place, and Bianca and Latte took second place. Obviously, you can tell they're super excited. They like to give me funny faces and pictures. And this was an awesome class to win. It just means that we're moving in the right direction. We don't compete as well at our ADGA sanctioned shows just because we're working on breeding better, and most of the other goats at those shows, they've been breeding for a long time, and we're just not at that point yet. So our placings here at our county fair just kind of gives us a little boost. There they go again, they're them and their funny pictures. So the judges did specify in this class that since it was a bred and owned, they did take the first 5 goats are all does in milk. So they placed the does in milk over the younger kids and dry yearlings. So they just said that they were, because they were older, you could tell, because they've matured more, a little bit better on top, I don't want to say top quality goats, but they could judge them a little bit better than you can a kid. Kids, they grow and they can change so much by the time that they're adults. So they did specify that they placed the older goats higher in the placings than they did the kids in this class. Then we got into showmanship. They did the junior showmanship class, which would be the youngest kids. Then they got into the intermediate class, which Aria was in. There was 5 in this class. The judges both went through, talked to all of the kids, asked them about their goats and parts of the goats. The intermediate class, they'll ask more questions than they do the junior class, but not as hard as the senior class. So this is, like I said, Aria's first time showing. She was pretty nervous. She's very shy and gets a little anxious, but I told her it didn't matter how she placed as long as she answered the questions the best that she could and had fun doing it. So after each judge went through and talked to each of the kids, asked them their questions, and kind of both got an idea of what they thought, then the 2 judges worked together to choose their placings. They got together and kind of discussed what they each thought, and I have a little video clip of that. They kind of tried to explain why they placed who where, but it was really hard to kind of hear them, so I'll just show you them pulling them out for placings. Aria ended up placing 4th out of the 5 kids, so she did a very good job. She said it wasn't as scary as she thought it was going to be, and she survived. She had a good time. Then we got into senior showmanship. This is Kaylee showing sangria. This is just showing the judges. Dairy goat judge talking to Bianca to start, the meat goat judge talking to Kaylee to start, and then they both kind of work their way through the line, front to back, back to front, talk to each of the kids. In showmanship, they're not judging the actual goat on structure and udder and things like that. They're judging the person, how they show, how clean their animal is, are the feet taken care of, what's their knowledge about their animal based on the age of the child, and they'll ask these guys harder questions. Bianca's been doing this many years. Kaylee's only been showing goats a few years, but they both did a really good job. As you can see, Bianca's not talking to a judge, but she's still setting her goat up, keeping her eye on the judge. Just because the judge is talking to someone else doesn't mean that they're not watching you out of the corner of their eye. You have to always know where your judge is at. You're trying to make your goat look the best it can look, so you don't want to get lazy standing off to the side waiting for the judge to see you. I imagine Kaylee's explaining that she would like a little more rear udder height and udder capacity on Sangria there. So the judges had them walk in, they lined up. They asked them to spread out, I'm sure so that they didn't hear the questions that they were asking the other kids in the class. And like I said, the meat goat judge here is talking to Hannah, asking her questions, but the dairy goat judge is still watching Hannah's interaction. She's watching Bianca, she's watching Kaylee. So then when the meat goat judge gets done, she'll come back and say, well, while you were talking, this one paid attention, or this one, you know, was off in La La Land. And they can then make their judgments and placings by that. So they got together, made their decisions, talked it over, and they're going to go, and typically they'll go and shake the hand of first place and second instead of lining them up. So Bianca took first place in senior showmanship. Kaylee took second place in senior showmanship. Super exciting. Bianca and Foxy, oh, they're a pair. And I think Kaylee's done showmanship in the past before we got into Nigerians, but this was her, I believe, first real time doing showmanship. So she was excited. And the judge is just explaining to Hannah, and she tries to explain it later, but it's really hard to hear, that her goat just didn't stand quite as well as ours did. I mean, the goats have their days. Sometimes Foxy's terrible and Bianca gets frustrated, so she was just trying to explain to her that kind of that was what happened, that kind of bumped her down to the bottom. And we'll try to hear the explanation on this next clip, but it's pretty hard to hear.
Three enemies here, we took a little extra time, you get older, you want to kind of drill a little bit more, we also like to look at an opening item throughout the day when it's just not showmanship class, but all classes, how the kids participate. And these three did an excellent job in the previous classes as well. It came down to just slight years of what we were doing. Emily in front, she just had a little bit more parts over in second place. She's coming for you. Emily was more goat, Liz and I told her, showmanship wise, your animal is one of them you have to be more like a statue. And I asked her, and she said this is the one that she normally does show, and does stand very quiet, but we all have our days, and so she just jumped around, and that's kind of how we picked it apart, but nice job, ladies. Woo!
So after showmanship, we were finished showing, but Bianca helped show some of the meat goats for some of the other kids, and this was in the champion drive. She was helping hold a goat. As you can tell, she's excited to be with meat goats. Not really. Then we got into our placings. I just like to take pictures of who won what. So this is Kaylee and Sangria. They won champion, and so she got a 4-H blanket and a medallion. She had Sangria and Cupid as second place, reserve champion, dam and daughter. And then this was her second place reserve for senior showmanship with Sangria. And Bianca, she won showmanship, senior showmanship with Foxy. She got a really nice engraved water bottle. And yeah, that's typical Bianca and Foxy. Foxy was screaming, so Bianca did as well. They're crazy. Bianca with Latte. She had second place in the Bred and Owned. And then Kaylee with Fergie and her plaque. They won first place in Bred and Owned. Aria with her first place champion with Foxy and Fergie for dam and daughter. And then, oh, bad picture, but this is Ruby and I with Sangria and Blanche, dam and daughter, who won champion and reserve champion overall. So that was as much of the fair as I could get kind of recorded and pictures of. That's it. Have a good day. See ya on the next one.